jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world combat sports. Talking way too much, world combat sports. Talking way too much, world combat sports.
Yo, shout out to the hottest chat in the MFing game, A-Side Official. No negotiations needed, period. You already know WCS is back in the building. It's only one fight and one fight only that I want to speak on today, because y'all have lost your ever-living minds, your mother-loving minds up in here. We're going to talk about the so-called shake-up in the 147-pound divisions. We're going to talk about some plans, you know, some scheming, you know what I'm saying, that's going on, that certain people want a certain fighter in their good graces. Jerron Boots Ennis. Philly, stand up. Hey, Philly can stand up today, because Jerron Ennis, out of the 33 professional wins on his resume, you know what I'm saying, he finally fought a notable, worthy opposition in Ennis Stanionis. Boy, did he put on the show. God damn. He put on the show, y'all. Look, he put on the show better than what I thought he was going to do. I was so tired of going to sleep during Jerron Ennis' fight, you know what I'm saying, and waking up and be like, God damn, it's the next day already. Yesterday, him defending and also unifying the 147-pound division was a fight that we needed right now at 147 pounds. The right man won yesterday. Why? Because he needs that fan base. He needs the boxing community behind him at this point in time. Still 27 years young, there's a heavy payload of expectations that's placed on Jerron Ennis to perform. That's point blank, period. Nobody can debate that. So what do we have? We have Jerron in the process of remaining undefeated. I don't think anyone that's tuning in this morning thought that Stanionis was going to beat Ennis. The fight itself didn't have a wager of 50-50. Okay? Let's be honest with ourselves. The fight itself did not have a wager of a 50-50 split, as if this was a pick 'em fight where it can go either way. No one was saying that. Ennis, on the other hand, was the favorite to win the fight. And he went in there and had the best performance. If you remember what WCS has said, that Ennis doesn't have the rematch clause, not the rematch clause, the rehydration clause is out the window for this unification bout. He should look his best heading into this fight. And I'll tell you, he looked his best, even though it lasted 6 rounds. That's the best 6 rounds that I've seen Ennis ever fight in his career against a top-notch opponent. That was the best 6 rounds right there. I mean, you want to talk about putting on a show against a flat-footed Stanionis. I'm just saying. A fighter who was tailor-made stylistically for Ennis, somewhat like Ramon Villa. He came forward. And Ennis showed him that there was levels. Jaron Ennis showed him that there was levels. 34 victories in, 30 defeat. This is the best win on his resume today. Point blank, period. His resume should read 1-0. I'm just saying. Jaron Ennis' resume should read 1-0, goddammit. This is the start of his climb at the top tier. Not when he picked up the IBF title. Because the IBF title, we can't give him credit for that shit because the way it happened. You already know the story. But this right here, this fight right here last night, no excuses. He went in there and finally beat a champion. He went in there and was deemed. And he finally received the echo that a lot of his fans was waiting on. He finally received that and the new. And it was well-deserved and the new. But let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Shout out to the chat, man. Shout out to La Jessica in the building. The queen is on deck. You already know. Shout out to Big Blunts and Boxing in the building. What's good with the Blunts? Cooking with Surf Senior on deck. What's good? He was tailor-made for him, and he did what he expected. Absolutely. So I know, people that was waiting for me to go live today, they feel that I was going to go hate on Ennis. I don't feel I ever hated on Ennis. I'm just telling you, just like Sir Senior, I said what I said about Stanionis. Very limited movement. Doesn't have any advantages over Boots. Boots look big in there. And every advantage that Boots had when it comes to his physicality, he executed and implemented correctly in the person of Amantis Stanionis. He did everything that he was supposed to do. That man rehydrated. He looked like he could fight at 160. The combinations that he was putting together, beautiful combination sets. Beautiful combination sets, bro. That's what he's going to the body, up top, and when he was sticking the jab, Ennis's jab looked like that shit was like 8 foot long. I mean, Stanionis, if you're gonna walk around in front of a mover, a switch hitter like Ennis, you cannot have the high guard up. You can't go in there with earmuffs on, somehow, let me get closer and closer. I just want to land this one shot. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Now, there was some moments in there where Ennis did get, there was some shots that landed, but this is boxing at the end of the day. Look, I don't think Ennis took any more shots than any other fighter that was in a championship fight. He rolled with them. He rolled with them very well. I give him that. He rolled with the punches very well that Amantis was throwing. I will accredit Amantis with a nice, very slingshot, poignant jab. His jab was on the clock. Great timing on the jab. But you go in there to Wade, Ennis was fighting yesterday. You need more than a jab, yo. You have to have more than a jab when you're going in there fighting somebody that looked like Ennis last night. And notice I say look like Ennis, goddammit. When you go in there fighting a fighter when Stanionis is not, he's not that tall of a fighter, to be honest with you. This is what we was looking at from Boots. 5'10", 74-inch reach. Right? For Stanionis, he was 5'8" and 68-inch reach. Along with that, he only had 9 knockouts. But to tie that in, Stanionis, his movement couldn't keep up with Boots. His angles couldn't catch up to Boots. His angles couldn't catch up. Boots wasn't allowing him to think, oh, let me use my boxing IQ. Let me try to, step this way, shoot the shot to. No. Boots never framed him that time, that window for him to set that shit up and get a little pretty in there. He never allowed it to happen with Stanionis. Stanionis was in a bad place, I would say, from the first round, goddammit. From the first round, we seen that there was a drastic separation between these two fighters. Now, I want people to understand that when, like I said previously, when it comes to these ranking systems, you can be a champion. That doesn't mean that every champion that's in the division is a 50-50 fight. This is the perfect example. When certain champions earn the belt, doesn't mean who they fought to achieve that is a 50-50 fight. Stanionis was a champion. Stanionis was one of those fighters that Boots wanted to fight back in the day, but he was under protection. They had him on the protection committee. But finally, they got this man a title, and he finally got the shot. Or him and his team had the courage to say, you know what, I think we're ready for Boots based off what we seen in his previous fight. Well, let me tell you like this. I'm going to be honest. And I've been the one that is critical of Boots. And I know y'all seen my boxing FICO. Boots put on a hell of a performance yesterday. But still his FICO score, though it did increase from poor to good, it was because it was a championship fight. Now, there were some areas in there where I'm looking at the styles per se, and I'm saying to myself, he's a very slow-footed fighter, Stanionis. His hands ain't that fast. So stylistically, it blended in well for Boots to take full advantage of Stanionis. The speed, the angles for which Boots was landing his shots, beautiful work. I mean, if it was ever a fight for Boots to come out and step on stage, man, with the curtains drawn and let the people know who Jaron Ennis was, and finally a championship fight that people can brag about, that was last night. That was last night. So if you asking, I know a lot of you probably ask and say, well, this was somewhat reminiscent of Ramon Villa. Yes, it was. It was somewhat reminiscent of Ramon Villa, but I did not give him any type of FICO points for Ramon Villa because the dude was just like a walking heavy bag with wheels. He was just right there. I can't say Stanionis was standing in place last night. I can say that Boots was dancing. He was moving. You know what I'm saying? He was not grounded in one place. He was using his lateral footwork. He was very fluent last night. His hands and his feet worked amazing together. He put on a show. I ain't gonna lie, it was entertaining. It was entertaining. You know what I'm saying? But I hear the people talking now, and goddamn it, y'all are blasphemous. The blasphemous that I'm hearing that Boots should be on the pound for pound list is blasphemous, yo. Off one fight, you got Nakatani at number 10, ain't he? No, Nakatani is higher than number 10. It's a Japanese fighter at number 10. He's a 3-weight world champion, yo. A 3-weight world champion. I think Nakatani is like 8. You have a Japanese fighter who's number 10. Based off the performance with him beating Stanionis, who a lot of us who don't need a lengthy deliberation about this and a shot of Hennessy would say that Stanionis was never proven to be great. It was never proven to be great. I'll say this with anybody. Just like y'all criticize my favorite fighters, so-and-so wasn't great. They didn't fight. We're going to keep the same motherfucking energy for Ennis. Stanionis, nobody never said he was great. Y'all said Errol Spence was great, but none of y'all was talking about Stanionis was great. So granted, Boots earned that. No doubt about it. We needed that type of energy, you know what I'm saying, for Boots in his career, because he had 33 wins, and not too many people can tell you who he fought except the name of Karen. That's just the facts. But when y'all get out your motherfucking character and start saying Boots should be on the pound for pound list, we need to start comparing him to the greats just off Stanionis. What? Are y'all smoking that good shit off the streets? This man had one valuable win. Let that man continue to build. I give him his credit. I give him his credit. But y'all are being disrespectful by saying that man should be on the pound for pound list and he ain't fought Brian Norman Jr. yet. Y'all back to y'all old ways again, right? The South don't have nothing to say. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to act like, oh man, it's over. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Brian Norman has to go in here and show the fight fans what they refuse to acknowledge. They refuse to give Norman Jr. any type of credit or love in the boxing game and in the welterweight division. Why? Because they done picked their more popular fighter in Boots. Even though Norman has gained mad traction as of recent with all the interviews and making his press tours, he's earned a lot of fans based off his fighting style. Him and Boots, they don't have similar fighting styles. But we can assess that when it comes to the power aspect of it, both of them have legitimate power. I would give the edge to Norman for having the more punching power. But I think it's disrespectful, just like I said when it was Crawford Spence, for you all to say, okay, now based off Stanionis' win, he should be on the pound for pound list. He's the king of the welterweight division. A king, the last time I checked, only wears one crown. Only in boxing, when you have people up here say, oh, he got 2 belts, vice one. Two is higher value than one. A king only has one crown. I've never seen any movie or seen any royalty in person where a king is wearing more than one crown. Almost dropped that shit. Put it back on my head. Damn, it's hard wearing 4 of these motherfuckers down here. Why can't I just wear one, goddammit? A king only wears one crown. And he still has unfinished business. The South is not going to take lightly to you all trying to put a hand in Ennis's back and say he goes in there and does Norman the same way based off Norman's performance. Now Ennis is caught up to Norman with having a highlight reel on his resume. Yes, I said it. I said it. I said it. He finally caught up. Because everybody was talking about, hey, man, at the end of the day, you know, if I had to look at a fight right now, I would look at Norman versus Santillan. Before I look at any of any of Boots' fight, I look at Santillan. That's what I look at. I look at Santillan fight before I look at any Boots fight. Now, being that Norman stopped Santillan in 10 and Boots stopped Stanionis in 6, now we have a 1-1. Then you can add Derek Cuevas in there, but the special part about Santillan is that he went in the man's backyard, bro. Boots is in his backyard once again. Feet kicked up. I like my home cooking. I'm gonna go in there and have fun. I ain't gonna lie, Boots went in there and had fun last night. But he wasn't in Santillan's in Lithuania. He wasn't in the man's backyard. From what I hear, goddamn Brian Norman's about to go over to Konnichiwa, Genki desu ka. Kambanwa. He's about to go over to Japan. That's the word on the street. I don't know how true that is. He about to travel. Have we seen Boots travel yet? Now with grace comes the mace. We have to put it down there. With grace come the mace, goddammit. With grace come the mace. Boots' FICO score did go up. Stanionis did go in there and fight to defend his belt. I enjoyed the show. Boots put on a hell of a performance. No cap. No bullshitting. He put on a hell of a performance yesterday against a smaller, you know what I'm saying, anchored, slow-footed fighter. Norman Jr. is not going to give him the same picture. What's next for Boots Ennis? Well, I'll tell you what's next. You know who was happy? Because I've been hearing all this rumor mill about Boots signing the PBC. They trying to resurrect PBC, y'all. Before, it was the other side of the street. Yeah, so-and-so on the other side of the street. And we can't make that fight. It's his fault he on the other side of the street. You know who's happy? You ever seen Eddie Hearns hug a fighter like this? Eddie Hearns picked up Boots Ennis like he just got home from deployment and he ain't seen his newborn child in months, in years, goddammit. You know what Eddie Hearns' hug was? He was like, in reality, hey, Boots, we're family. I need for you to stay with the fam, Boots. He hugged the shit out of Boots. Hey, I need for you to stay with the family, man. Just stay with me one more game. One more game, man. Let's just stay with me, man. Sign, resign. I'll give you the most money that you ever had. You understand, Boots? Boots, look at me. Look at me. The hug embrace that I gave you, Boots Ennis. It was sincere. It was sincere. I don't ever think about it. It's just business. You proved to me that the progress is worth waiting for, Boots. That's what you did to Stanionis. And I want to reward you, Boots. I'm going to give you the money that you're looking for. You deserve the highest purse, Boots. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I think we should stay away from PBC. You understand me? Stay away from PBC. And I want you to really go home, relax. I'm going to have, my driver send you over a 6-course meal, right? And get that food in your belly because a warrior needs to eat. You know what I mean? And so therefore, after you finish that 6-course meal, I want to talk business. I've already talked to my people. I want to re-sign you. Yeah, Eddie Hearns wants to re-sign Boots. Had you ever seen Eddie Hearn pick up a fighter and give him an embrace like this? Eddie Hearns is desperate for a star. Ooh, he's desperate for a star. He picked Boots up like he was a goddamn newborn child he ain't seen since he went on deployment. He went off to the war and came back. Son, you've grown up amazingly. Wow, you've gotten so big. Man, the military life, time passes by so fast. But I heard you was here on these battlegrounds in Atlantic Boardwalk, and you did your thing. I like that. It runs in the family. I knocked off a lot of them heads in my day. You just follow in my footsteps, son. Do y'all believe that Boots is going to sign with PBC, or is he going to sign with Matchroom? Because goddamn it, Eddie Hearn will be a fool not to keep Ennis right now based off the calendar that's potentially there for him at 147. A mega fight between him and Norman Jr. A mega fight should be somewhere close on the horizon, unless they want to say, let's go get the Barrios fight. Either way, the fight to make at 147 is Norman Jr. and Ennis. Real talk. People are talking about it. Now that Ennis has unified the division, they're going to start talking about, Ennis is the king. Ennis is the best because he got 2 belts. Like I said before, a king, the last time I checked, only wears 1 crown. A king wears one crown. That's the only scenario I have to use. We're in the process, like we was before, establishing who is the king. Just because he picked up 2 belts, did y'all not see what happened to Spence? So therefore, you have to look at this and build up the fight accordingly. The South ain't just sitting down on the rock nowhere. Y'all got to come see it. Y'all got to come see who is the king of the welterweight division from Philly. Right now, this fight needs no marination to it. It can happen right here, right now. It's the perfect time for Norman Jr. and Ennis to fight. It's the perfect time. But I just don't get how boxing fans are so desperately looking for, to act like y'all was, when he was fighting Karen, that y'all was giving him your undivided support. Now, y'all are running back across the border and shit. Let's get back over there to Ennis. He did it, man. Let's get back over there. Hurry up. Whew. Man, I'm not in the best shape I was when I aborted mission and left Ennis over there to fend for itself. Now you got, some of them Ennis fans trying to run back across the border and be on Team Ennis bandwagon. Has it left yet? It's still there? Okay, tell them to hold up. Another 10 minutes, we'll be right there. How many bandwagons is it? It's enough? Okay. You got all these fans jumping back on the Ennis bandwagon now. Now they have these silent voices that was in Hyper Nation. They coming back out. Hey man, we need to start comparing him to Sugar Ray Leonard. It make you want to laugh like you on the country porch. Goddamn Spencer back out in the motherfucking grass. And we should think about comparing Ennis to the top 10 of all time. We should talk about throwing Ennis on the top 5 pound for pound list. Man, come on, stop it. This man had one fight, the best fight of his career. He did very well. Very well. Shout out to Bozy. Very well. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But who is he going to sign with? Who is Ennis going to sign with? Is he going to stay with Eddie Hearns? Is he going over to PBC? Because a lot of people are trying to, they act like they sending out the kite, yo. Like they sending out the kite. They got a message. They have like, in order for Ennis to be validated, he needs to go over to PBC. Why are we still talking this talk? What does it matter? He just did this shit with Stanionis signed with Matchroom. Why does he have to go over to PBC though? Are they going to give him more money? I'm pretty sure both of these organizations is going to find somehow, some way to sign Ennis to a multi-fight deal. Because they're guessing that now that Ennis doesn't have that rehydration clause and, based off the performance value of his FICO score, rising up to a whopping 678, they feel like this is going to be Ennis from now into the future. So there's a lot of numbers that's going to be tossed around in the upcoming weeks. Yes, there's going to be a lot of scrambling, numbers, negotiation. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a lot of conversations had. Eddie Hearns is hugging this man like, please don't leave me. Please, I need a star like you. Please don't leave me, goddammit. I'm not bullshitting you. Eddie Hearns is desperately trying to keep this guy right here close. Eddie Hearn believes that if Ennis stays with him, his boxing fight code will be in the 700s. Easy. So you know how I like to do. I like to do a little bit of reading, y'all. Let's go over here to this article. Hearn, Ennis versus Crawford is the best fight in boxing. You know I had to go to this article because when I seen this shit right here, I say, see, that's the goddamn buffoonery that I'm talking about. That is the buffoonery, the straight up chicanery that I'm talking about. Well, no one's talking about a Crawford fight. We're talking about the welterweight division. You have Norman Jr. and Barrios still waiting in the midst. Promoter Eddie Hearn said a clash between Jerron Ennis and Terrence Crawford is the best fight in boxing. After the way the IBF welterweight champion Ennis decimated WBA champ Stanionis in 6 rounds. What does Stanionis got to do with Terrence Crawford? I'm not going to read the whole article. Don't worry about it. I just want you to see the stupidity that Eddie Hearn is on. He need to look. This article should have said Eddie Hearn's pondered the thought if Ennis will stay with Matchroom or basically take flight over the PBC. That's what Eddie Hearn's convo should look like. Cash-induced blindness, okay? Cash-induced blindness. After Bud gets a taste of what of that kind of cash fighting Alvarez, there's no way on earth that he'll agree to a massive pay cut to fight Ennis. True. Let's move on. I know a lot of fighters' names getting mentioned, and I'm not going to tell you which ones, but honestly, he plays with so many of them. He plays with them, especially at 154, said Hearns. Talking about Jerron Ennis being too good for the fighters at welterweight and junior middleweight. Okay. Now, my biggest question after I read this will be, why are we talking about this if he doesn't plan on moving up anymore? I'm pretty sure all those guys like Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia having a rematch, those are far off in the calendar, far off in the distance. Teofimo fighting Barbosa. That's about to happen, right? But you think Teofimo is looking forward to fight Jerron Ennis after this performance? Possibly. It says Boots against Crawford is the best fight in boxing, continue Hearn. It's an unbelievable fight, but he's got Canelo. But as a fan for me, you've got 2 of the best technicians in the sport, Boots and Bud. The thing about Ennis is he got some incredible skills. He's got a tremendous IQ. He's got great footwork, but he's also spiteful. When you look at fighters in the past that have great skills, they haven't got devastating punching power. They're not trying to force a stoppage. They're not spiteful with it. He is. He's 34 wins with 30 knockouts, Hearn said. So, Hearn's is going to be on his tour, coming up. He's going to be on his tour. And that tour is going to consist on questions that's going to be proposed from the media on what are their plans for Ennis. There's so many voices that's going to be echoing. Is Ennis going to re-sign with Matchroom or are you going to sign with PBC? Right now, to be honest, I know a lot of people are desperately seeking Ennis to help PBC rise out from the ashes. They was on fire a little bit, but they want another name, a name that was compared to Errol Spence. They want another face to be over there to big them up. You know what I'm saying? To bring them up out the shadows, man. Like the Phoenix. They want Ennis to be the Phoenix over there. Yeah. They're looking for another face because they have the old Charlos over there. Spence, he's still over there. You got Caleb. All them guys are old. None of them cats are 20s. You know what I'm saying? You got Sebastian Fundora. That can be an in-house fight for them at 154. It all depends. Hold on one second, y'all. Let me check the check right quick. Bruce Gas OG in the building. What's good? Human in the building. Salute. Carlos on deck. I see you in the building, man. Samad on deck. What's good? What's good with you? So this is my take on where we at with the entire scheme of things. I give Boots all the credit for his performance. Styles make fights. Don't sing that chorus line if you really don't want to know what the words actually mean. Okay? Don't say Styles make fights all the time and you don't want to hear what it really means. Styles made that fight yesterday. Styles, the better style was Ennis. He was much more flexible, had more variety, and it was over before it even started. The speed, the versatility, how he was executing his angles, just the whole mix up on how he was switching stances whenever he felt like. He was extremely fluent in there with Stanionis, who must have been looking at Boots as if shit was a bit blurry. It might have looked like when we seen The Matrix and when he finally found out and he was dodging those bullets. I think that was Stanionis. He was just like seeing shit moving and blurry and all that. He's like, God damn, where he go? Where is he? I think shit was moving in high speed for Stanionis. It wasn't normal playback speed. It was a little bit faster for Stanionis, and he did what he could do. Stanionis did what he could do until Boots, had him in the corner, and he lined him up with about 4 or 5 uppercuts, which was great. But see, with those uppercuts, y'all need to stop talking about comparing him to Roy Jones. There we go. Roy Jones, they call him the left, Captain Hook and all that. And man, come on, bro. Just let Ennis be Ennis. Just let him have that victory and have that shine all to his own. Stop trying to pack on him being next to the greats off one win. He has a lot of work left to do. He said he wanted to unify for Undisputed 4 divisions. He had me unified 1. Though his performance is what boxing needed when it came to shaking up the welterweight division. That's what boxing needed, to shake up the welterweight division. Now we have a rivalry in process. We have a rivalry. We have 2 big names and 147 pounds. I'm not saying Barrios ain't a big name, but Barrios get knocked out by either Norman or Ennis. Real talk. He gets stopped. We know that. Tank stopped him at 140. He gets stopped. So really, the clash is between 2 fighters. It's just all about when these 2 are going to fight each other. That's the big question. When are they going to fight each other? When is this going to happen? Because people are going to run with, he run over Brian Norman based off styles of Stanionis. These are fight fans who consider themselves to be hardcores and seeing Styles make fights. But now they're going off familiarity. They want to say, oh, I'm not too familiar with Norman. I done heard it already. I'm not too familiar with Norman, but I am familiar with Boots. No, you're no more familiar with Boots than you are with Norman. You just happy that Boots has finally stepped up out of 34 professional fights, and he finally had that standout performance. That's what you're happy about. Because we can agree that 2 Karens is not getting you in the Hall of Fame. 1 Stanionis is not proving a point that you're the best in the boxing game. I'm just being honest, bro. 2 Karens and 1 Stanionis don't do it. That's not one of the prerequisites to get on the pound for pound list. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to do more than that. So the good thing about it, the welterweight division is on notice. As you probably heard, the South does have something to say about who's the king of the welterweight division. And y'all really should keep that in the front pocket, that now the spark is back at 147 pound post Crawford white gloving and cleaning out the division. Now we have that return. Now we have some talk that's going to be rampant. I mean, when I say it's going to be rampant throughout the social media and building up Ennis and Norman. That's who the fight fans want to see. They don't want to see Barrios go in here. If any one of them, if Norman or Ennis get Barrios, he getting stopped. So it would be good if it's 2-2, but right now I really don't care. If Barrios is next for Ennis, I mean the same thing is going to happen to Barrios, Stanionis. He going to rout him, pick up 3 belts, and then we're going to have hopefully an Undisputed sometime in 2026. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, there are layers to piece together with this. Ennis was at home again, close to home, Atlantic Boardwalk. I don't feel no type of way about a fighter fighting close to home. I'm just saying what's going to happen when you talk about superstardom. Is he just going to be a local U.S. star, or he's going to have to travel sooner or later? Because the bragging came into play for Errol Spence is when he went in the backyard of Kell Brook and took the IBF title that used to be Sean Porter's. He went in the man's backyard to do that. Crawford's been over there when he fought Ricky Burns in the backyard. Boots haven't had that travel fight yet. I'm not talking about him traveling within the states, but he's having home fights. That's not going to build up a superstar. That's not going to put your name, on another spectrum. He needs a big fight somewhere else out of the U.S. That's not up for me to determine. I'm just saying there's a lot of planning that has to take place with Ennis. Who's he going to fight next in this division? His boxing FICO score absolutely is in the 600s now because he did defeat a champion. Absolutely, he did. He defeated a champion, y'all. And I can't fade that. You know what I'm saying? It was great entertainment. That's what boxing needed. Boxing needed a wake up. Boxing needed a wake up. I'm not saying we haven't had any great fights this year. I'm talking about boxing needed a wake up in a division that fight fans are waiting. You know what I'm saying? A lot of fight fans are just waiting in the shadows saying, okay, who's going to be the next big fight? We hear Crawford, Canelo. Yes, who's going to be next? And right now, I think we have that fight. I think this is it. I think this rivalry that's about to take place, this is what boxing needs to build up the welterweight division. Now, I do want y'all to understand that, Norman's fighting style is not like Stanionis. So when you start going around here saying that people, it's going to be the same way, they have totally different fighting styles, and also the punching power of both fighters between Norman and Stanionis registers different. They have the punching power registers different. So shout out to Team Boots. Superb display of the sweet science. Superb display of the sweet science. But we do have unfinished business. And I want to see how that unfinished business plays out with the planning process. Is it going to take us to 2026? Is 27? How's that going to play out for us? But I'm not going to lie to you. It is what it is. No complaints here. Ennis did what he's supposed to do. Stanionis, he said he was going to be all gas, no brake. He was on the gas. He was on the gas. Seriously. And still, until he ran over that spike strip. When Stanionis found out, 2 of his tires was running on flats, and he didn't actually have run flats. That's where it got a little bit difficult to goddamn, tell yourself, damn, I'm pressing it all the way to the floor, but I ain't moving no more. And he found himself parked up against that goddamn corner, and Boots went Friday the 13th and started stabbing him with them uppercuts in the corner. And Stanionis say, no. Ah, ouch. You know, that shit start hurting. He had to take a knee, goddamn. His corner say, no, it's over. We live to fight another day. And that was a good call. But I'm not going to dump everything out on this Sunday about what I've been hearing about this shit, man. It's getting crazy with the talk. Oh, man, this upcoming months, man, it's going to get crazy with the trash talking between Norman and Ennis, man. Y'all are coming out saying some crazy shit. These mothers trying to compare Ennis to the top 5 all-time Floyd Mayweathers. They trying to say, oh, yeah, you know, he can go in there with Floyd Mayweather, man. And I don't think Floyd would be able to handle that. You know, Floyd wasn't a switch hitter like that. He didn't have the power, the speed. He didn't have that. Oh, my God. Based off one single fight, man. May God bless you, man. May y'all go to church this evening like you did this morning and pray for your goddamn sins. Because this is an abomination to hear the shit that's going on right now. They act like this man went in there and fought Henry Armstrong up in this bitch. The man still has work to do, man. Why are y'all so in a hurry to bring up controversy on a fight that's not going to happen? If indeed it's true, Norman is going over to Japan to fight. If that is indeed true, I don't know what the business aspect of what's going on. He's going over to Japan. He's going international. Whatever Boots has planned next, we don't know, because people are going to be talking about this fight, and you know, compare him to. Look, I must mention this. The dude hasn't fought at 154. I must switch it up a little bit, right? It's imperative. He is not going to be at 154 anytime soon. Though he would look like a middleweight in there, you have to give this man time to transition up to those weight classes. With that, he has to continue to stay healthy and continue to win. But to say that Charles Conwell, why y'all have so much disrespect for Conwell? What fight did Conwell have that Boots is gonna run through him? I heard somebody say that he'll goddamn fuck Fundora up and stop him. I say, oh my God. Do y'all not understand that Fundora can fight? Y'all saying he'll run through Virgil Ortiz now. We have to see it. We have to see it, bro. I mean, y'all are tripping big time. I swear, man, y'all are tripping. That's what happened when you spoon feed the boxing community, because the boxing community feel like they're entitled. They want the buffet. But when the buffet is not available, you got to spoon feed these cats. That's when they get every bit of impatient. They just start saying some shit that don't make any sense, man. I'm serious. They start talking about he'll beat Mayweather. And I was like, dude, you have no idea, man. Damn, the ladder that you all gave this dude, man. It's not a manual ladder. They're trying to give this man a ladder presented as a ladder that's in an elevator. Hey, get on this ladder, just stand there. And then you're up there pushing buttons. He ain't climbing. You just got him in the elevator. We're going to send you up to the top floor. That's where you at right now. Oh, this is where I'll be? On Stanionis? Y'all putting me up to the top tier? Yeah, we taking you all the way up to where the air quality is different, to the suite. Bro, we got a lot of work to do with this. I'm not going to lie. It's a good vibe, good sense of energy that we have a rivalry brewing. A rivalry between Norman and Ennis. That's what we need. We have another rivalry brewing in the 147-pound division. 2 black fighters, too. Another set of 2 black fighters, bro. But y'all Ennis fans, you cannot put your hand in his back and push him any quicker just for conversational purposes, knowing this shit ain't gonna happen that expeditiously in real life. He's not going up to 154 anytime soon, not 25 and not in 2026. So please stop talking about, like, man, I understand y'all excited, but y'all act like boxing just started 2 months ago and y'all didn't expect this type of matchups. He ain't going to 154 anytime soon. He has work to complete here at 147 before he even get that. And then not only that, as boxing fans, we don't even know if it'll be when him and Norman actually fight, because Turkey Al-Sheikh has this Times Square fiasco going on where they're gonna be fighting outside, invite only. I mean, it's gonna be like they're gonna prevent people from Times Square from being able to socialize and frolic due to a Fatal Fury match. So we got a Fatal Fury card going on, and from what we know, depending on the results of that, Teofimo name has been thrown up. I'm gonna be honest with you, Tio. I really hope your name is strong. I'd love to see you get your ass whooped. I would like to see them put your name up there, for a future fight. With Ennis. I'd love to see that. But we don't know if T.O. is going to be thrown in the mix. His name was rumored to be next in line up, in the near future with Ennis if he beats Barbosa. A lot of people believe that's going to be an extremely tough fight for T.O. But we don't know. But it would be good if he had a superb showing, so we can kind of clear out the schedule a little bit. We need to get some clarity. Norman's not going to be fighting Ennis anytime soon if he's going over to Japan. Ennis just stepped out the ring yesterday. So the only fighter that would be remaining at 147 is Barrios, and I don't think he's stepping back in the ring anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? But right now, that welterweight division is popping. It's not over the top popping, but it's popping enough for us to have a rivalry like we just witnessed not too long ago. We have the South versus Philly. We have the disrespect on deck. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we have the trash talking actively engaged. Also, we have the fight fans that's picking sides already. That's good shit. That's what we need. But just keep it in reality, yo. Take it out the matrix and keep this shit in reality, man. Stop trying to create these storylines like you a screenwriter. You're not making a motherfucking movie, yo. Stop coming up here like you want to be the next producer and screenwriter and shit. And you coming up with all this sci-fi info. I know y'all been waiting and waiting. We had Errol Spence. After Errol Spence, y'all had Boots, but Boots was kind of waddling in the mud a little bit. Took him a little bit of chance, a little bit of time to get started. Now he shows out last night. Now you all are standing up, y'all posture. Yeah, we've been waiting. I told y'all. You know how many people I heard say, I told y'all. Yeah, I told y'all, man. I told y'all. Didn't I tell y'all? I told y'all that's Boots. I told y'all. Y'all up here sound like Scooby-Doo. I told you. Shaggy. I mean, just stop it, man. Let the man rest, goddammit. Let this shit materialize the way it's supposed to be. It's right where we needed to be, yo. It's right where we needed to be like it was before. It's not as hyped as when it was Crawford Spence, but it's going to get there. I'm telling you, it's going to get there because sooner or later, Ennis is going to have to speak up because I hear Norman all over the press tour. He ain't going to stop talking this shit. His dad ain't going to stop talking this shit. So sooner or later, Bosie's going to speak up. And then Ennis is going to have to come out and play. And can y'all do me a favor? Can y'all stop mentioning sparring so much? Sparring don't have shit to do with this future matchup, bro. When look, sparring don't have shit to do with it. Because I can be petty and say, well, were they both champions when they were sparring? Can you say to yourself that they both have changed up and gotten better since the sparring? Okay, there's plenty of sparring stories out there, yes, but you cannot bring sparring into the situation years later. They're both seated champions in the same division. If you take Centillion fight and you take Stanionis fight, those are the fights that you have to wait. We can bring Cuevas in there, but Centillion is a little bit more different because he went in the backyard of Centillion. Boots love fighting in his backyard. Team Norman loves to travel in other people's spaces. It's a difference when you're going outside the comfort zone and venturing into somebody else's home and talking shit and acting like, oh, this is my home after the night. They're gonna know me more than they know you. They last impression is gonna be, oh, this is what so-and-so did to him, and how disrespectful him to come over here and not show hospitality and bloody that man up like that. And then they're gonna look at Stanionis, and Stanionis was leaking. But it was a different type of beatdown. It was a different type of style, when it came to both fighters. But now we have two fights that we can balance out and juggle around a little bit when it comes to boxing conversations. We can take the Centillion fight. We can take the Stanionis fight. People are going to talk about he stopped him in 10, vice 6. But I'm going to be honest. When you talk about the excitement value of both of these fights, comparable to the carnage, the inflicted violence, what had the crowd oohing and on, both fights had that shit. But I'll say 10 rounds of Centillion with Norman beating him up outweighs the freaking Stanionis. The only reason I'm saying that is because Stanionis didn't put up a fight like Centillion, in my opinion. He didn't put up a fight like that. I mean, he's walking around with earmuffs on, high guard, trying his best. His jab, when he threw his jab, when Boots allowed him to have success, he was able to land that shit. But as far as combinations, no, man. Still, you go 1-for-1 with the best fight in the recent years, the edge still go to Norman Jr. So, for the voices out there, I understand this is going to be debates over and over and over again, yo. It's going to be people talking in the next several months. But how y'all going to build up the greatness of your fighter when you keep on saying another fighter's a bum? Excuse me. Some of you cats say these fighters are bums so easily. Like, how are you going to build up the greatness of your fighter if everybody that's projected to step in the ring, you want to say they're a bum? Y'all up here saying what a fighter don't rate. Man, that shit's wild, man. Like, y'all cats will sit up here and say, well, Boots will have no problem, with so-and-so. If y'all are saying Stanionis was a bum, how do you elevate the greatness? How do you increase Geron's Ennis boxing FICO if you're saying that Stanionis was a bum? If you're saying Norman Jr. is a bum, how are you supposed to elevate? You're not going to have a conversation, a boxing dialogue that makes sense and boosting up your fighter if you're saying the welterweight division is a bum, full of bums. How is that possible? That's the same shit y'all cats was saying when Crawford was knocking heads off, and you saying he ain't fought nobody. But yet Spence He fights Kell Brook under 8 months from coming back down 2 divisions and getting beat up by Gennady Golovkin. Then he fights Sean Porter, who beat Danny Garcia for a vacant WBC title. So it's always going to be pluses and minuses in this game because you're not producing these fighters out the lab. You're not producing these fighters out the lab. So as boxing fans, if we're going to build up a fight, and I'm listening, the first thing I'm going to present to you is, if you're saying Boots is the king of the welterweight division, but yet you're saying Stanionis was a bum, then I have no problem with reminding you of that. Because how are you going to say he should be on the pound for pound list when he be a bum? And then turn back around. Projected him to fight Norman. How are you saying, based off you feeling some type of way because Norman didn't, Team Norman didn't take the negotiation? So just because they did the same thing Bud Crawford did in 2022, right? The same exact thing, right? It's called business. So they, backed away from the negotiation table because of, different fees and all this other expenses that had to be paid. So he's a bum for not doing business with Boots the first time? So coming back around, you're saying to yourself, oh, well, Cuevas, it wasn't nobody. What about Santillan fight? What if we just balance out their most exciting fight out of the past 3 fights they had? Well, I heard somebody say, well, guess what? Korean, him going the distance with Boots. No, we cannot say Korean going the distance with Boots mean anything because Boots did not have the rehydration clause this time. I told you all that Boots should have the best performance of his career absent of the rehydration clause now. And was I wrong? Was I wrong? He looked amazing in there. Outside of his carrying performances where it seemed like he couldn't stay on the gas. Outside of his Avanesian performance where it seemed like he couldn't stay on the gas. But last night, he looked like a middleweight. And he went in there and got the job done. But this bum shit y'all talking about, how can y'all be taken serious? If everybody, you're trying to say Boots is this top 5, top 10 dude off Stanionis, but you call Stanionis a bum. And then you're calling every other fighter in the welterweight division a bum. All because you want to build up Ennis. Listen, we've been around this shit before with Crawford and Spence. And you've seen what happened. It don't matter how many belts you collect. It matters the night of the fight under the bright lights, camera action, when the initial bell ring. That's what it means. For you all to throw this man out in traffic with dark clothes on at night is not going to help his career speed up anymore. He's going to get ran the fuck over. You just need to be patient. Let Boots and his team do what they do. Let Norman and his team do what they do. And if it's meant for them to fight, cool. I don't like giving these scenarios of my less, of my less favorite fighter. I'm not going to say, well, Boots, he looked huge in there. Because, like I did a live. You remember when I said people saying he was weight drained? I always go back to when Mikey Garcia fought Robert Easter. Man, Mikey Garcia looked bad. He looked like a shriveled up freaking hash brown and shit. And he looked bad. But when he rehydrated, he still went in there and gave Easter the work. He did. So, when you was hearing people talk about Boots look bad, he looked way to give him some grapes then, goddammit. Send him a goddamn fruit basket. It happens in boxing. You have people who cut weight, and when you dry out, you look different. One minute, y'all want to be a caregiver, and the next minute, y'all acting like y'all the conquerors and shit. Either stick with the welterweight division. You know what I'm saying? Stick with the welterweight division. Stop saying Boots. Look, hey, if Boots want to stay there in that division and it's tough for him to cut weight, that's the decision they got to make. It's 2 more belts out there. It's 2 more. Is more than 2 fights remaining because they're not fighting each other next. So both of these fighters have calendar dates set up, probably to fight somebody different. We don't know if they're going to fight each other in 2026 or not. We have to wait and see. But make up your mind on what you want to do. You want to call fighters bums? Because if you're saying, you want to build up Ennis or you want to build up Norman, you can't say that these fighters are bums. How do you prove your point to build up the welterweight division? I thought we learned a valuable lesson in 2022. I thought we learned that shit. Taking 5 years to build up Crawford Spence. I thought we actually was educated in that perspective on 2 top pound for pound fighters. This is not the case. Norman and Ennis is not pound for pound fighters. They're not on the freaking list. They haven't had the fight yet to get on the list, right? But I thought we learned something with 2 pound for pound fighters on saying a fighter ain't fought nobody, and that same fighter go in there and demolishes your favorite fighter. I thought we learned from that shit. I thought we learned from saying the same BS over and over and over again that so-and-so ain't fought nobody. Please don't come up with the same shit where Ennis will beat everybody on Norman's resume. We've been through this shit before. We're going to have to see these 2 individuals lock it up. First of all, lock it up with a contract. The money has to be right. I hear a lot of y'all talking about what a fighter ain't worth, all because he didn't take the first negotiation. Man, y'all need to chill with that shit. In order for the fight to be made and for these 2 to determine who's the king of the welterweight division, they have to sign a contract. They have to sign a contract, bro. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Y'all have to be a little bit more patient than what you got going on, man. I just want y'all to be a little bit more wiser when you're saying that these fighters are bums. Like, how do you raise up a fighter to be on the pound for pound list if you're saying everybody else in the division is a bum because that's not your favorite fighter? We've been through this with Crawford already. He had to go in there and wipe up your favorite fighter as easy as it ever could have been for you all to say, okay, so-and-so legit. All right, they for real. Now we going back to the same shit. 2 different players in the game, though. Both black fighters, both champions. Now we're at the intersection to see who's the king of the welterweight division. Both fighters has declared that they're not going anywhere. But all I heard prior to the weigh-in is that, Boots, he looks so drained. He looks so bad. He need to go at the 1. And then they come up with 15, 20 scenarios on who he can beat at 154. If Boots' team continue to keep him there, they must have confidence that he can make the weight. If Norman team feel that Norman say he ain't going nowhere for the next 5, 10 years, then they're comfortable with him standing there making the weight. So let's stop giving these social media fruit baskets and shit want to feed people grapes by hand. Let's just lay down right quick. Take a sip of this red wine. Take a sip of this red wine right here. You'll be okay. I know it's a tough weight cut. I mean, you gonna baby the nigga, or you gonna goddamn treat him like, hey man, this is my favorite fighter right here. I'm gonna talk my shit. But when you talk your shit, stop saying, okay, so and so's the best. And when his future opponent comes into the convo, you're saying, oh, so and so's a bum. Man, you niggas will get destroyed fucking around with these fighters talking about that bum shit. Get destroyed. And you know who you are. You know who the fuck you are, man, talking this bum shit. As boxing fans, man, we have the layout right now. The shit is on our radar. We wanted to get a title out the way to narrow it down. Now we have 2 separate champions remaining for a future opponent of Boots Ennis. And the big fight people are going to be talking about is just only 2 names, Norman and Ennis. That's it. No one's looking for Barrios. I don't care. I big Barrios up. He has the best resume. Good guy. 2 division champion. Yes, he did what he needed to do. But no one's going to send Barrios in there as a 50-50 guy to be either of those names. Dude has been getting beat up. Barrios walk up and get the mail. He come back, lumps on his face. Hey, anybody jump you out there? No, it's just, from my last 2 fights getting beat the fuck up, I just swell up a little bit. There were some dead leaves that was blowing around and hit me in the, Barrios starts swelling up. He just loved getting beat up. I guess it's the Ellis Stecker way. I don't know. But no one's sitting up here saying that Barrios is going to be a 50-50 fight with either one of those guys. So the fight to make is going to be very, very curious. It's going to be it's going to be a guessing game on if they ever fight, will it be a rematch clause in that fight? I think for sure they're going to fight at least once. But will it be a rematch clause? And the good part about it is that the boxing fans, you cannot sit up here and try to determine that one half is desperate to get the fight other than the other. That's not the case. Because Ennis is not going to be at 147 for that long. Look, it's a lot that can happen in the next several months at 27 years of age and cutting that much weight. A lot can happen. So I want both fighters to be healthy. Norman and Ennis, I want both fighters to be healthy. I want them to be able to make weight accordingly so we can have a fair and impartial clash, unlike Crawford and Spence, because these bitches continue to whine that Spence was weight drained and I want to give him a Powerade to hydrate. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he came down here high. They should have put him in quarantine before he ring walked. They should have put him in a decompression chamber and got all that weed out of his system. I heard he smoked some weed. They had a million excuses for Spence, bro. I don't want that with this fight. One thing we know for sure is no pre-existing trauma with Norman and Ennis. No pre-existing trauma. Both are healthy individuals. So therefore, I really don't want to hear shit. I don't want Ennis to stay at a division too long. Whoever's getting him down in weight did a great job getting him down in weight, making weight, and coming in there and putting on the show. Because that nigga Ennis looked like he was a middleweight yesterday. He didn't show no signs of slowing down on goddamn Stanionis. He beat his ass. I don't want no excuses. I don't want no excuses, yo. The boxing fans deserve a clash that makes sense. I know y'all complaining about 135 and all that. We deserve a clash in these lighter divisions that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense. And we're going to get it. We're going to get it in September with Crawford Canelo. And whenever, welterweight division comes around, we're going to get it. Well, all I'm saying is, if y'all want people to buy in to the hype, y'all have to understand to listen to your own words and stop saying motherfuckers a bum. Like, how do you gonna say so-and-so deserves to be in the company of others that are considered greats when you're downplaying his opponents? Remember, For those of you that's been out here in these YTC streets, remember what they said about Crawford. They give Ricky Burns little credit. They give Julius Ndongo. They give all these people little credit, right? Four division world champion. Give him little credit. A guy that's been on the pound for pound list longer than anyone on that list, right? So therefore, just imagine the road that Boots has to travel to be in the good graces of these fight fans. Because you look at everything that they were saying about Crawford facing champions that didn't matter. And then you're turning around and saying Stanionis was a bum. You know what? It ain't the fighters. It's the goddamn fight fans that's retarded. Some of you boxing fans are straight up with up syndrome, down syndrome. Some of you niggas are retarded, bro. Because instead of you wanting to have a decent boxing conversation, you'll sit up here and say some shit that's already been said. You have a decorated fighter who was once at 147, and you say he ain't did shit. And then you take a fighter and Boots off one fight, and the fighter he beat wasn't a pound for pound fighter. He wasn't a two-time champion like Porter. And y'all say he's a bum. So how difficult is it for Ennis to reach up to the high status of respect when it comes to the convos and the boxing debates when you saying Stanionis is a bum? And then when you want to say Norman Jr. is a bum. And then you want to say Barrios is a bum. So all of that damn contentiousness that you bringing up here, this bias ass narratives, how are you going to big up a fighter? You got to start saying, hey, so-and-so's a worthy contender. This is going to be one of the bigger fights when it happened in 2026. This is what we look for at 147 pounds, not the same soap opera that we experienced building up a fight for 5 years at 147. And then all y'all say is, let's take a look at his resume. Whenever you hear somebody say that about Crawford, who did he beat? This tells you that the fighters, in order to be accepted by the fans, it's a never-ending story. They're never going to give these fighters the respect they deserve because they think they can just sit back and call motherfuckers bums. But if they was to show up to the gym and do one round, 4 minutes, they'll find out how difficult it is. And then after they get that ass whooping, they'll be trying to call, hey, attorney, I got a civil suit I'm trying to file. I never signed any waivers. I just got my ass beat by this boxer I was talking shit to, but he didn't have to beat my ass like that now. Did you sign any waivers? I didn't sign any waivers. That's why I told him, take it easy. You know, I mean, they'll be running to the attorney office trying to file for a civil lawsuit because you felt like your kidneys was coming out your ass. But yeah, you the same nigga online talking about, oh man, so-and-so's a bum. I'm not going to go all long drawn out for this shit. It's just crazy, bro, how these motherfuckers, they just be illin', man. Old school word, man. You ill as shit. Like, how you supposed to big up a fighter? How we going to big up Norman and saying Boots a bum? Norman beat Boots. What are you going to say? Oh, boy, he ain't fought nobody. Norman fought Stanionis. Who was Stanionis? He didn't do shit. Okay, it's a never-ending story, yo. A never-ending story. Keyshawn just beat Baranchek. Who was Baranchek? He ain't nobody. This shit never stops, yo. The same conversation happens over and over again. You know who got bragging rights right there at 154? Sebastian Fundora, because he actually beat Tim Tszyu. Depending on who you're in the company of, they'll say, oh, yeah, Tim Tszyu. Yeah, he was a reigning WBO champion. He did what he had to do. But let's be honest, he's not his dad. He never was established. Who did he beat? Who did Tim Tszyu beat? You know what I'm saying? I mean, this boxing community, man, they're a bunch of drug addicts, man. I swear to God. Them motherfuckers are always under the influence of stupidity, bro. This shit never stops. Real talk. This shit is crazy, man. I just get tired of hearing the same storyline, man. When are we going? Okay, big up a fighter. Big him up incredibly. But in the process of so-called putting blocks up under his feet to elevate him to a higher status, right? You cannot do it at the expense of the competition for which you're using as evidence. You can't use another fighter and say, oh, he fought this fighter. That's why he should be 2 or 3 blocks higher. But hold up. You see, looking at his resume, that fighter didn't fight nobody. But hold up. That fighter was a champion, right? Yeah, you're right. He's about champion. So he should. But that champion didn't fight nobody. It's always going to be that. And so people have to understand it's a belt system for a reason. And when you have so many belts, the competition, the quality of competition is never going to be at a level of superiority to satisfy the masses, bro. It's not going to happen that way. You're never going to satisfy the masses when it comes to boxing fans. My only request is when, can we change it up a little bit for the newer? We have the new younger generation that's taking over right now. The old guard is on their way out the door. So when is change going to happen? Real talk. When are we going to switch it up and shit? Like all this old school rhetoric that, these default 1 and 2 liners that they use, they ain't fought nobody. They're bums. So if the new school is coming in, and now all of a sudden we seen Turkey Al-Sheikh coming here and bleed over into boxing a little bit. We got the TKO destination on deck. Now we have the U.S. boxing fans trying to unite these promotions over here, i.e. Top Rank and PBC, right? So with that said, there's a change that's taking place, right? So if you are a part of the change, don't try to implement change with old criteria. The old criteria is the reason that we're here now. The old bullshit that we was talking is the reason why we're at conflict now. Y'all want to talk about how, oh man, they can't take over boxing. It's bad for boxing. You know what's bad for boxing is when you don't take the fighters serious. And everybody that your favorite fighter fights, you cannot give them full credit for being a quality fighter. You want to say they're bums. So you're basically negating any type of validity that you have in building up your fighter. How can we have proper clashes if the first thing out your mouth is going to say, man, so-and-so ain't fought nobody, but you're saying your fighter should be on the pound for pound list for beating that nigga? If you beat him, okay, cool. But people listen, people take notes, people screen record. They're going to say, so you want him on the pound for pound list, but yet you saying he didn't beat nobody. That was your argument before they fought. See, boxing fans can't separate the two. They can't divide the two. There's no sense of dichotomy in this situation. I have one side over here before the fight happens, where we have the arguments on who's the better fighter, how, what is the scenario going to be, how is this going to play out, and so forth. Then you turn around after the fight, it goes away whoever wins. Then the first thing is, well, to be honest, so-and-so won, okay, but one side now, hey, so-and-so didn't fight nobody. That's not the case with this. It's not the case. And his body won't be able to handle that forever. He has to move up. I agree, man. I just don't want to come off, Carlos, as trying to filter information out to the public as if Ennis is in dire needs of moving up a division. I don't want to put that type of message out there because I want to see him and Norman clash. I think it's a great fight. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of disrespect to come out of Georgia when it comes to boxing. People think it's easy work. For a long time, people saying if you want an opponent, you go down to Georgia. They said that for years back then. Now we have a legitimate fighter, world champion with power. And on his radar is Ennis. Let's see how long it takes to make the fight. Boots did well last night, but one fight definitely doesn't mean he still hasn't had to prove himself. Now, string some good performance against top comp, in my opinion, would change. You know, you make a great point. I also want to see Boots fight outside of goddamn Jersey, NYC, man. Travel, yo. Travel. Open up your horizons. Go on deployment. See how comfortable you are. Start winning in somebody else's backyard. See how comfortable you are, bro. Glazing Boots in the comments. Now all of a sudden he can beat Bud. I know, right? And look, BG, I chose not to turn it into a Bud Crawford live because I'm trying to stick with the welterweight division. Bud's no longer at the welterweight division. You know, I'm trying to talk about the hitters that's at the 147-pound division, the future clash. I want to talk about them. But it's difficult to talk about what we have brewing at 147 when they keep on bringing Bud into the picture that's no longer at the division. Eddie Hearns can talk all this shit. Eddie Hearns is the same cat that was up here capping, talking about Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury is gonna, fight for undisputed heavyweight championship when Deontay Wilder had a third fight in contract. And he was in arbitration in court. He was up here selling that shit. I swear these media segues have an open line for Hearn to come up here. Oh, look, he's the same one that's saying that the boxing public needs Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Both of these guys have been defeated as of recent. Why are we awaiting this? Neither one of them have belts. So why are we looking for a fight that never happened, just like Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua never happened? Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua never happened. But yeah, Eddie Hearns is trying to push Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. I get it. Now he's trying to push Bud Crawford, Jaron Ennis. For what? For what? Y'all gonna pay Crawford $60 million? What he gonna fight him at? He got to drain down to fight Boots from 47. Get out of here. Boots just need to forget about Bud and just take on better opposition. I agree. Boots lied and said Norman turned down $2 million. Hey man, you know what the lies are, man. See, I'm trying to keep it off money because boxing is a business, right? And it's not like they out here selling bean pies on the corner down in Georgia. His pop's got a business. You know how much it takes to run a business, a successful business. So they ain't the water boys out here off exit on 23. You know what I'm saying? Selling water down here that you buy at a Dollar Tree and Walmart on the corner. Business have to make sense, especially if you paying this percentage of fee to pay over here, this percentage. Boost don't know. Talking about, we sent him 3 offers. You never sent them $2 million. You sent Barrios that, but you didn't send them that. Facts. Boots fans don't seem to know boxing. They just fanboys. Facts, bro. Talk to them, man. Make up a pamphlet, man. Send that shit and put it on their windshield. They don't get it. Hey, if you say so, man. If you say so. One thing I know for sure is that I'm not going to be the one up here trying to convince people to understand boxing is a business. When you say price themselves out, how do you gauge what a fighter is worth? You're talking about 2 champions. So did the price tag go up with 2 belts? Yeah, possibly. So with that with that elevation of monetary value, don't both fighters' stock go up? You think the negotiations going to be the same just because Boots coming here with 2 belts and Norman has 1? I thought we went through this already. With Crawford Spence. Why did Crawford get all the concessions? He had the least amount of belts, right? I thought we went through this already. They say Spence did all the heavy lifting, right? So why did they fight? And Crawford had the $1 million concession in there, coin flip. And both of them got paid very, very well. So how do you gauge 2 fighters who are champions in a single division? This equation doesn't play out the same with Crawford being a 3-division champion and Spence being a single division champion. Hey man, do better. That's all I'm saying. Do better. Look, what is he going to get out of fighting Barrios, who keep getting beat up? What does he get out of Barrios? A name that y'all like? You think he's going to get all this incredible amount of money? Who's the A side? Is it Barrios or Ennis? Barrios has the better resume at 47. So who's going to be the A side when you put comments in here like that? Who's the A side? Barrios has the better resume. Boots has more belts. Who's the A side? Barrios has more divisional championships. Who's the A side? So you gotta process your information a little bit better before you press enter. That's all I'm saying. Eddie need to come on with the real. He got more than a week this time and don't have to front offers after a fight already dead. Eddie need to come on with the real. He got more than a week this time and don't have to front offers after a fight already dead now. Absolutely, I agree with that. He don't have to goddamn talk about shit. It's dead, man. Bud ain't coming down to 47, and Ennis is not moving up to 54. If indeed he had that opportunity front and center on his thought process, he would have basically allowed it to jump the synapses gap and come out and say, you know what, we're going to take this Virgil Ortiz fight. But they didn't take the Virgil Ortiz fight, period. And people are going to sit up here trying to vouch for Ennis. You know why he didn't take the Virgil Ortiz fight? Because he had Stanionis lined up. Okay, you had Stanionis lined up for less money. Cool. Which one is it? You going to get paid more money with Virgil Ortiz or you want a championship? You made the declaration you want to be undisputed at 47, right? That's what you said. So when y'all sit up here and argue this Ennis situation, what is boxing about? Paluda's coming here talking about Norman pricing himself out. But yet, Boots turned down his highest payday facing Virgil Ortiz to go over here and fight Stanionis for a championship belt. I guarantee you he didn't get the same amount of dollars that he would have got facing Virgil Ortiz at 154. So what the fuck are we talking about? Who's in the wrong? The one who's typing? Shout out to Brim in the building, man. A week-long negotiation on the expired Karen clock was the first negotiations. Devin took way less money to become undisputed. The money will come if you are who you are. Okay. So here we go again, comparing other situations. We're comparing different situations. Oludabella was a promoter with no network who also had George Kambosos as his fighter. So in order for Kambosos, who was looking for Lomachenko already, who was signed to Top Rank, Lomachenko went to combat. Who else is in line that makes sense? Devin Haney. Yes, he took lower money, but Devin Haney wasn't the first choice for Kambosos. Kambosos wanted Lomachenko, like I told people. I said he's not looking for Devin Haney. He went on a tour when he won his titles and beat T.O., acting like he was going to fight Gervonta Davis, like he was going to fight Devin Haney. He was never looking for them two. He was looking for Lomachenko to fight in Australia because he felt he's a bigger name and can pack the house out. So what happened? Devin Haney had to sign to a situation for the opportunity. Yes, it changed his career. He wiped the freaking division clean and swiping the belts with Kambosos. But what about this sacrifice shit? Y'all sit up here and want to praise Devin Haney for a sacrifice like that's supposed to bleed over to other fighters? So what are you saying? Norman Jr. should take less? What's up with y'all cats? Why are y'all so hyped up about people's pockets? What Haney did is a totally different situation than what we have going on at 47. Did Ennis, I mean not Ennis, did Crawford and Spence take less money? Did they take net pay? How long y'all been around these streets, bro? They got paid their highest payday in an undisputed fight. So why are we talking about what Devin Haney did with Kambosos? Different situation. Different situation, bro. Yes, Devin took longer to get to the pot of gold, but he got to the pot of gold. But what does that have to do with Norman Ennis? Just because one person took less money, then y'all want to go back. Well, Floyd Mayweather, he took less to fight Oscar. Okay, man, you have situations where fighters are coming up. This ain't the case. Ennis is no higher pedestal than Norman Jr. and Barrios. Barrios has the better resume out of all of them cats at 147. But yet Barrios has been getting beat up his last couple of fights, and people find it rather simple for either Norman or Ennis to go over there and take that belt from Barrios. A 2-division champion. He has the better resume. But you still gonna have people talking about, oh man, you know, Norman them gonna price themselves out. It's a business, right? Did y'all say the same about Teofimo when he was fighting Lomachenko with only 15 professional wins? Should he have did what he did and trying to ask for more money? Look, after he beat Lomachenko, right? And he has 16 professional wins, should he have let the fight go to purse bid? Should he? Real talk. Should he? After he beat Comey and Lomachenko, should he have let the fight go to purse bid to increase his value as a fighter? I'm just saying, man. Come on, when does it stop? Devin took less money. That has nothing to do with this 147 pound. You know, we have different situations all the time where people want to dig in the pockets and act like they're CFOs. You really don't know what the numbers are like unless somebody select to make it public. That's the same shit we went through in 2022 when everybody was trying to say what Crawford should get paid. He should get paid on 30%. He should only get paid 35%. He should only get paid. Everybody was a CFO. And then what happened? When they finally made the fight in 23 and they found out that $1 million that they bet in Oklahoma was already given to Crawford, all these concessions that Crawford had, what is the argument there? If you're going to bring up these senseless freaking compatible since these moments that you want to bring as evidence, you want to present them as evidence for your argument, right? You got to go a little bit deeper and compare them to situations that we can relate to in this era. You have to bring them up the same. We just got to stop saying, well, Devin Haney took less money. That was his situation. That doesn't mean the Norman should take less money heading into this fight with Ennis whenever it happens. What does that have to do with anything? We bragging about how Ennis fought a Karen that was high in the rankings for his mandatory, right? So people are high and mighty for Jen Sasaki. You know what I'm saying? If he goes in there and fight a number 2 Jen Sasaki, comes back with a victory, What are y'all gonna say? Okay, he followed a person. Y'all gonna big him up just like y'all did Ennis for fighting Karen twice? Or y'all don't care? Shout out to OG Mr. Golden in the building, man. What they do? I thought I saw Quinn up here. Did I skip over you? Shout out to Quinn in the building, man. You need a real job, my boy. You slaving that hard and can't afford $100 to buy his Brian. Oh, that might be between you and Brim. I'm about to say that can't be including me. I don't know nobody shit out this motherfucker. Okay. What's good, Golden? Listen to WCS, the dude who pays if he loses. Not like Stephen Bryan Brim 100. Okay. I got you, Quinn. I got you. You on the what's that team they sent out, search and rescue? Hey man, it happens on here though. All these cats don't pay, man, but you know, that's neither here nor there. That's not even my situation, bro. Even though I do have money that's out there. You know what I'm saying? The people didn't pay. I feel you. Hey man, I'm not here to go back and forth with. See what you're doing. You pop up when you want to argue with me. You're arguing right now, Paludis, for whatever reason. Every time you come over here, you want to argue about something. Okay, so you don't like the Normans. Okay, you're mad. You need to go on a chat where the conversation is strictly about the Norman hate. That's where you should put this off. I don't know why you're here. The whole thing is Jerron Ennis, new FICO, Undisputed. He just beat Stanionis last night. So in order for 147 pounds to become Undisputed, you have two other names out there. So why are you arguing with me about your dislike or unfavorable words for Team Norman? I mean, you should be in another chat for that. You should be in an Ennis chat. You should be in an Ennis chat for that. Shout out to Jamal Neezy in the building, bro. Who's putting my credit score up there like that? Hey, man, with that Neezy, you can get pre-approvals, dog. Now your credit line might be, give or take $920, something like that. You can get some pre-approvals with that shit, bro. Real talk, serious. You can get some pre-approvals, but the interest rate may be a little bit higher than Neezy, for real. But we're gonna see how this works out, man. Up the road, we're gonna see how it works out. It's good that we have a lot of Ennis fans that's returning back to his freaking his block, so to speak, serenading him outside his window. Giving him that fake love, as we call it. Yeah, it's good to see some of you fake ass Ennis fans returning back to the homestead that abandoned him when he was up here fighting Avanesian and Karen. It's good that you wiped all the smut off your face and said, you know what? Let me go up here and support this guy. Let me act like I never abandoned or aborted mission. Let me get into these chats and have a convo and act like I've been supporting him heavy the whole time. Stop it. Do better for yourself, man. Stop tripping like that. The Ennis probably looking at y'all like, damn, I don't even know where all this. YSM probably seeing a fluctuating the DMs. Hey, YSM, I know you're in the gym with Jerron. Is there any way I can set up an interview, man? I've been a long-time supporter of Ennis, man. Come on, YSM, help me. Hey, YSM, his DMs are blowing up. His DMs are blowing up right now, man. Hey, man, I know you're locked in with Ennis, man. Is there any way you can lock in an interview? Here's my contact information, man. Tell Ennis to call me. I'm trying to get this interview this week. Come on, man. I love what you're doing, brother. Hey, Jamil, they gonna be coming knocking at your door, man. Knock, 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 knocking on heaven's door. They gonna come knocking on your door, big dog. I seen some of your content out there. If I'm not mistaken, you in the same gym as Ennis, right? Oh man, I've been a long-time fan of Ennis, man. Just please, can you do me a big, huge favor? I want to know, can I get an interview with Ennis, man? You know, kind of set up a 2-part interview. Hey man, they gonna be hit that YSL DM up, man. Hey, Pollutus, you act like, hey, make sure you over there too, you hater. You know what I'm saying? Take your hating ass over there and goddamn start, you know what I'm saying, building up the Ennis background check and get him where he need to be, man. Start doing his PR for him, bro. You know, start doing his PR for him. Put yourself to work. But man, hey, it's always a pleasure. Appreciate y'all supporting. As always, salute to the hottest chat in the MF and game. Till next time, I'm out.